Okay. Greetings, everyone. This is Ellen Silverman, and I have a special guest star with me this afternoon, Tori Cohn of Tori The Organizer Corporation. And she has a magical gift that she works with people that need help with organizing. And we're here for a special interview to learn more about her and her services. So welcome, Tori.
Thank you for having me, Ellen.
You're welcome. So why don't we just dive right in? Why don't you just tell me a little bit about your career and your background and what led you into this business of organizing and decluttering?
For sure. So it's been something that I have done for my entire life. It's a compulsion, but the actual career of organizing and decluttering I got into by chance. I was working in the entertainment industry and I just wanted some extra work, and I started assisting other organizers, and I thought, wait, this is a business. I didn't realize that, and that was really how I got started, and I haven't really looked back.
Wow. So what were you always, as a child, organizing your toys or?
Yes.
Okay.
My friends, a way that my friends would taunt me, and I'm still friends with these people, is that I would space out my hangers and my friends would come over and shove them all to one side.
Oh my God. And this was as a kid growing up?
Oh yeah, this was like as a 7-year-old.
Wow.
It was my favorite activity to clean my room.
Wow.
I'm not
Wow.
kidding.
I mean, your mother must have been in love with you. I mean,
She's
what?
very proud.
Yeah. I mean, is she like that as well? Was it a family?
Yes. You know what's funny though is I have 2 siblings, and they're neat, but they're by no means as intense as I am about organization. But yes, this is my mother's family. Everyone is very, they have very strict ways of doing things, and I really just learned from that, and I love the systems created.
Wow, great. So, how long have you had your company?
So it's been 2.5 years. I was in Los Angeles for 2 of those years, and it was actually called something different. But when I moved to New York in November, I decided that Tori the Organizer is who I am, and I went forward with that name.
Wow. And what are your specific services that you offer?
So I offer a number of different services, but specifically, and probably most importantly, so I do packing and unpacking. So when you move into a home is the perfect opportunity to really go through your stuff, because why would you move with things you don't intend on keeping? And then it's also a great opportunity to set up systems of organization so that, you know, you're moving into a new kitchen. Well, guess what? You get to decide how to best use that kitchen because nothing's been done in it before. Another service that I offer is just general home organization. So people who feel like they're in clutter and they want to redo. So I really do, you know, a full redo and start from there and teach my clients how to maintain the systems moving forward. And then finally, something I do also is work with seniors. So aging in place it's this big industry, and it's an underserved industry. There are a lot of people who are getting older, and they have there's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of emotions with that stuff, and it needs to be dealt with thoughtfully, carefully, and the older person needs to feel involved and feel in charge.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have any special coursework in this or training, or is there a certificate program in this kind of work that you do?
So short answer, no, but there's a longer answer. So there's an organization called the National Association of Professional Organizers, which I'm a member of, and they have a certification program, and you need to be an organizer for 3 years before you get the certification. And as I am at 2.5 years, I'm ready to take it.
Interesting. And so now that you're in New York City, what are some of the typical New York City type of problems or issues that you deal with?
Well, New York City is unlike any other city I've ever lived in. I'm from Canada. It's wide open air. Now I've moved to a city where a family of four is living in a one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
So I try and look at that as an opportunity and really making the most of your space and, furniture that can be more than one thing
Yeah.
and, multi-purpose storage spaces. So really the city is like no other, but I think that looking at it from a positive point of view, it's that you really can recognize that there are things that you need and things that make your life better, and there's excess.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think makes your services unique versus other organizers that are in New York City?
I mean, I'm just better. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
No, I think really what makes my services unique is that I love what I do. And when I start working with a client, I will give everything. And I really, individualize my services. And something that works for one client might not work for another. And I'm also happy for someone to say to me, I don't like that option, provide me with another. So searching and really finding what it is. And often, like, my relationships with my clients don't end when the project is done and I leave. They want to tell me how things are going with upkeep, and I'm going to check in with them. And they're asking me, questions about different areas of their home. So really the personal attention is what makes my services unique.
yeah, that's great. That's great. And are there common, well, you said obviously in New York apartments have a less space than any other apartments in the world probably. Are there any other issues that you find New Yorkers are particularly that they have, or I mean, because I think that this is such a shopping centric city that we live in, and also I find people who live here are very attached very attached to their things and have very strong opinions about things. How do you deal with that?
Really, you deal with it on a case-by-case basis. You're right.
Yeah.
A lot of people here do a lot of shopping.
Yeah.
And so really trying to figure out where that thirst for shopping comes from. So I have a client who, she loves to shop. It's probably a borderline compulsion, and she just loves the thrill of buying things. And so I said to her, okay, she's very involved with her church. So I said, okay, next time you have this need to go out and do a shopping spree, I said, could you find someone in your church who actually needs things? Say they just moved to this city, they don't have a lot of money, they're looking for a new job, and could you go take them on a shopping spree? And she said, I guess I could do that. I said, do you think that it would give you the same high? It would give you the same amount of pleasure? And she said, I guess it would. So just really coming up with alternatives for that. I think that's something that I really try and get across to my clients. And this is a subject that comes up very often, is gift giving. Very rarely do people get gifts that they absolutely love. And so I try and remind my clients of that when they are giving gifts. So they'll say, well, if I see something in a store, I just have to get it for this person. And I say, so there's a difference between buying something specifically for that person and then just buying things to buy things. Because then you get things that you've got just to get. And then there's guilt with giving that away. And could you take people out for dinner? Could you send a nice card?
Yeah.
Gifts create a ton of clutter.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think it's so hard to let go of things?
Emotional attachment.
Emotional attachment. Yeah.
It's, these things mean something to each person. And that I've really worked hard to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm never ripping something out of a client's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is discussion. Probably a closet is the best example.
Mm-hmm.
As I'll have a discussion with my client and say, tell me about this dress. And they'll say, well, I bought that dress, and when I weigh 10 pounds less, I'm going to wear that dress. And I get that. I have clothes like that. Everyone has clothes like that. But then I say to them, so say you're 10 pounds less. Is that the dress that you want to wear? And they say, well, no, but it's out of style, but I paid so much for it. And I say, okay, well, what's a way that we could thoughtfully let go of it? So could we find an organization like Dress for Success where we can give that dress to a woman who's going to go to an interview in that dress and it's going to give her confidence? And if I can provide options like that add meaning to donations, people are much more willing to let go of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Do people feel a sense of relief once they discover these other alternatives?
Yes, definitely. So I really early on in my career, a big mistake, and so I was working with a husband and wife, and the wife wanted to basically clear out her husband's extra closet. And so I did it with her, and she said, go to Goodwill and drop everything off. And I'm thinking, who am I to say, should your husband look at this stuff before I leave with it? So I left. I dropped everything off at a Goodwill center. It wasn't even a store. It was literally just like a bin. And she called me back that night, and she said, I need you to get everything back. And I said,
oh my God.
I said, oh, what? There's no back. It's not, I don't even know where this stuff is now.
Yeah.
So since that experience, I have never given something away without a client giving me the okay. Say I can take a picture of it, whatever it is. But I have found if my client is the person to say, yes, I'm okay with this leaving, never have I had someone call back and say I shouldn't have gotten rid of that. They need to be the one to make the decision.
Right. Interesting. What are some quick tips you can give us all, no matter where we are in our homes, even if it's an organized home? What are some things we can implement right now?
For sure. So one thing that I do that I love is I have a paper bag in my closet. And every time I pull out a shirt or pants and I say, I'm not really feeling these anymore, they go into the bag. So I'm not doing a weekly drop off to Housing Works. Maybe it's every 3 months when that bag is full. So I try and make it easy for myself to create that donation pile. Another thing that I do is that, people will say stuff ends up here, there, and everywhere, and then I have to clean it all up, and it just keeps happening. So what I like to do for my clients is create like a miscellaneous bin. So when you have something that I'm too busy, I don't want to put it away, I don't know where it goes in this bin. So that once a week, when you can put everything away, all you have to do is pick up this bin and distribute everything.
Interesting. Are there any other items that people collect besides clothing and shoes and handbags? Or are there things men tend to clutter themselves with?
That's a good question. There are plenty of things people collect. And truthfully, I don't push people to get rid of collections. If it's something that they really enjoy and it's a big part of their life, I'm not going to try and convince them to get rid of that. What I want them to let go of is things they don't need. So, men collect clothing that no longer fits them. A big thing, my husband has about 36 fraternity t-shirts.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That he doesn't need, that he's never going to wear. So actually, you know what? This is a big thing for my male clients. Concert t-shirts, sports t-shirts, fraternity t-shirts. So my suggestion for that is a t-shirt blanket. So there's so many companies that do this. And what they do is they take the square panel of the shirt and they make, say you can send in, I have one that's 12 panels, but you could send in one that's 36 panels. Okay. And it's basically, think about you're quartering the amount of stuff because you're sending in these t-shirts and all they're taking is that one square and they're making something that you can actually use.
Interesting. That's interesting. What are some of your favorite products for organizing?
So one that comes up over and over and over again. So there's one it's called the Whitmore Over the Door Shoe Hanger. It fits 36 pairs of shoes.
Oh.
I swear I don't get any commission for...
Yeah, no, it sounds great.
But I've had 7 clients use this. I actually have it as well. And the thing that I like most about it, so most shoe hangers, women's shoes, so say women have boots or even men have boots, and those boots won't fit on certain shoe hangers, but these have movable racks so that you can push one up and you can have one shelf that is only for boots. And it's I like using back of the door. I think it's a tremendous use of space. Clients aren't always 100% happy with it because of the aesthetic, and I'm happy to find another alternative. But if you're okay with it, using the back of your door is a great use of space.
Oh, wow. Anything else that you can recommend?
Yeah, so I love using office products for kitchen organization. And a thing that I really enjoy is using binder dividers. So you have that thing that will go on your desk, put in 5 different binders. You can also put in pot lids. You could put in sheets, cookie trays, muffin trays, just to keep them separated so that you don't have to pick it up and find what you need every single time, just so you can pull it out.
Right. Interesting. And do you work with a lot of people that because I do staging and I do real estate. So do you work with people in the real estate business or the staging business?
Yes, I do. So working with stagers is really wonderful for me because I don't do what they do and they don't do what I do.
Okay.
So a lot of times stagers will call me and say, I've been asked to stage this apartment and I'm not doing it till it's decluttered.
Right.
And that's perfectly where I fit in. And I, talking to the client, explaining this is an opportunity. If you're moving, great time to really think about your stuff and focus on the stuff that you want to keep most. But also having that little push of your apartment's going to look better on the market the less stuff you have in it.
Right. So you would come in before the staging process.
Right.
Got it. And how long would it take to declutter or organize or clear like your typical 700 square foot 1-bedroom in Manhattan?
It really depends. So You would be surprised at the amount of stuff people can shove into a 1-bedroom apartment. So What I do is I do an estimate for my clients so this is the best example I give, is that I once had a closet that took me 45 minutes. I also once had a closet that took me 28 hours.
Wow.
So
wow.
It's people, and often people will call and say, I don't have that much. Or alternatively, I have so much and they don't actually have that much. So
wow.
It's a question of, right. And also then the question is, do they want to minimize the amount of stuff they have? Do they want to do an overhaul and get rid of mostly everything? So there's all different questions that I have to weigh when I'm giving an estimate to a client.
Wow, I can't imagine 28 hours. That's a lot of stuff.
It was pretty intense.
And that was one closet?
Yeah, it was a walk-in.
A walk-in, but still.
Yeah.
Wow. And so do you charge by the hour or by the project, or how do you?
I do. So I'm switching over to a half-day, full-day model.
Okay.
But yes, currently I do charge by the hour.
Okay. And what is the best part of your job? What really lights you up about this business?
So I really like helping people, and this is a skill that I have honed, that it's something I'm really good at, and it's something I can teach other people to do. Because my goal is to kind of put myself out of work. My goal is to not go back to people's apartments because I set in place a system of organization that they can follow. And when I follow up with clients months later and I ask, how's it going? Have you been able to keep up with things? And hearing that yes, and maybe they've gone into other areas of their home to declutter and get organized, it feels worth it.
Yeah, great. Is your home amazingly organized?
Well, I'll be honest, at this current second, no, because I had an 8-hour job today and an 8-hour job yesterday.
Okay.
It's normally, you know what, and I practice what I preach. I have the bare minimum amount of things that my husband and myself need, and we have a daily practice of putting our stuff away and making our beds, and I take real pride in the cleanliness, the organization of my home.
Wow. And well, good. And your husband is obviously okay with this.
No, I said that to him the other day. when we first moved in together, he said, I don't know, why are you just touching all my stuff and reorganizing? I said, people pay me to do this. But at some point, he, I guess, just decided that it was easier to put everything back where I asked him to. And so, we have a groove that we're in.
All right.
It's wonderful.
That's fantastic. That's probably another book right there for you. Well, great. And Tori, where can we find you? What's your website?
So it's ToriTheOrganizer.com, Tori with an I, and everything all my social media is Tori the Organizer. So Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. Although on Pinterest, you're only allowed to use 15 characters, and that's 16. So organizer is spelled wrong because there's no E at the end before the R, which I'm so embarrassed by, but
it's fine. We'll find you. I'm sure. Well, thank you so much for this interview and for enlightening us about organizing and decluttering. I'm sure many real estate people will could definitely use your services and will use your services, as well as home stagers, and certainly anybody else in New York that wants to get rid of some stuff and make things happen in their life. Because personally, I believe when you get rid of things, it just, you are emptying space to open it up for other things. I think there's something very spiritual that goes on about that. Yeah. Well, great. I thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you. Bye.